Hello guys and welcome to Cast 6 in the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. My name is Guile and as many of you will immediately recognize, this is a cast featuring Setons Clutch. I'm sure many of you were wondering how long it was going to take for us to get onto one of these maps. This is actually by popular request. I've had so many people asking me to do one or two of these, so I thought I'd bend the knee and get on with it. This particular match was sent to me by TA for Life, who's been sending me hundreds of videos, along with about 40 or 50 other Setons matches. I'm not going to cast them all, don't worry. But the reason this is so popular, it's a very, very balanced 4v4 map, but at the same time, it's like a number of different games in one match. You've got different positions have completely different experiences of the game. You've basically got the two front guys here, and their entire, certainly of the early game, their entire experience of the battle is going to be your conventional T1, maybe T2 land war along this narrow land bridge. They're initially, that you can see, they move their commanders early because there's a lot of mass sitting here on this beach. You've got what looks like 3 Cyberman cruisers and a bunch of Titan wrecks. So much mass, a few mass points. So it's really, really nice to get in there, get as much as possible, get those early upgrades on your mexes to throw into the fight. Then you've got these side positions, so here, 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 and here. These guys have to control their pockets of ocean, and it's really, really important because if you lose, then your opponent has free reign not only to start attacking you, but also if your guy has made any progress up the middle whatsoever, you can just sit here and boot the crap out of him from the side. Conversely, if you're a guy on this side loses, the same's going to happen to your guy on this side. So it kind of makes for an interesting mix. Down here you've got these two guys sitting at the back. These are the two most secure positions, and generally what their role is in this is to pump out air superiority fighters, make sure they try and wrestle air superiority back from their opponents, or focus later on special weapons, experimentals, throw them into the fight, try and change the face of the battle on the land bridge, or if there are any problems coming in either side, something like that. So it really does offer a great mix. You can see the two commanders facing off in the middle, wrestling for that early mass, as is pretty usual. Reminds me very much like an ISIS game in that respect. You've got this must do, get to the center, otherwise you will auto GG if you don't get your proportion of the mass, because you just will get out mobbed by your opponent. Let's have a look at some of the players. You'll probably recognize a few of them. We've got Sir Louis here, who's arguably one of the finest, or most well-known, certainly, of the old FA players. I believe he's moved on to StarCraft these days, but hopefully one day we'll be able to get him back for some show matches or something. And then also Jaguar, a very, very well-known player. A few others as well. Tag Ubrich sitting in the middle, and Dim, I've definitely played 1 or 2 matches against him back in the old GPG days. There's a few I don't recognise. Shimon, or I should recognise with a name like that, but unfortunately I don't. And Killer Culp is a new one to me as well, so is Odisu. But Dim now looking a little bit exposed. He's got a lot of T1 spam coming down from Ubrich, taking some fire, but the good thing about this part of the map is you can duck into the ocean in the early game. That won't be an option later on when there's more navy from your opponent in the sea, because you'll just get owned immediately by some kind of Tech 1 sub-rush or something. But he'll just duck away on 1500, 1600 HP there, and he'll be safe for the moment. Meanwhile, one of the side missions for the early game is definitely for these guys to work on the T1 interceptors, make sure they offer what support they can to their guys in the middle. Sir Louis and Jaguar doing a good job of that. Not so much for Batmans and Shimon, but over on the side, I don't like. Shimon hasn't even attempted to go for this side island, and this is conventionally where you go, this island will usually belong to this player, and this island will usually get taken by this player, purely because it's a distance thing. But Shimon hasn't even tried it, and it actually looks like Batman has spotted this, and he's going to take it. It's very convenient, he's playing black. He's going to take his little transport of robins, and they're going to snatch this island. And that's actually pretty bad, but it does look like these two guys down here are short stacking if you look at Shimon, you expect Uberage and Dim to be on the lower side because they've got to fight the T1 fight in the middle. But I mean, Killer, this is a very, very secure position back here. All you've got to do is macro up and get those ASFs out. But he's not doing it. And that could cost this team later. We'll call this team 1 and this team 2. So team 2 looking like short stacking at the moment. Dim in the water on very low HP. You've got Odiso bringing in T2 torpedo bombers, trying to take him out. They've been pinging his commander relentlessly. He's going to have to come out of the water now and walk into this torrent of T1 spam. He's not upgraded his cannon or anything like that because I just don't think he's had the mass, but there's a lot of T1 fire coming down on him. But Uberage is starting to back up. He's allowing Dim to go right there, and there's a little T1 interceptor fight going on here. Team 2's desperately trying to pick off these torpedo bombers. Dim's had to slip back in there, but there really is no safe place for him except potentially back here right now. But look, Team 1 snatching these 2 side islands, and that will give them an advantage, which is a little bit concerning for the fate of the game, to say the least. But we will just have to see how that pans out. Meanwhile, T1 Span coming in. Nice T2 shield gen coming in there from Dim, shielding his units. Let's see what they can actually see down here. Yeah, they've got some passes coming over with the T1 bomber, so see a little bit of what's going on. They need to get a radar up there at the front. Meanwhile, T1 interceptors building in number for both teams on this side. And Batman being very prevalent here. Looks like he's performing some kind of drop. He's coming in down here to harass Shimon. But what is going on here? Just when I thought it was safe to go back in the water, Jaguar is airlifting his commander across the map, bypassing what could be a very dangerous... There is a little airdrop coming in here from Sir Louis, but he's literally flying over Sir Louis's base. I really don't understand this play. It's incredibly dangerous. It's been pinged. And is he gonna... I assume he's not just trying to fight, he's probably going to set up some kind of build section here. He must have T2 production. There it goes. He's built a few point defenses. That's extraordinary. Meanwhile, this is not good. Uberage looking very, very isolated. Dim trying to shield his own commander in case it goes down. Dim surviving on 500 hit points. Uberage very quickly managing to transfer control over to Odisu, but my god, how has Jaguar managed this? Against Sir Louis of all people, he's managed to set up a firebase. That is probably the cheekiest maneuver I've ever seen at this stage. And there are some strat bombs coming in on Odisu, definitely doing the job he's supposed to be doing, working up to T3 air, certainly doing more than it looks like Killer's doing. Jaguar desperately is trying to get that T3 SAM side up so he can focus down these strat bombers, because that is a problem. Cerberus is going up from Sir Louis, but they just do so little damage. I imagine they'll probably turn into... There we go, there's the triads coming up there. The differential on damage, of course, all of this is unshielded anyway. I believe Cerberus's kick out about 111 DPS, whereas the triads kicking around 128 or something. I may be wrong on that. One shield going up there from Sir Louis. This is really, really crucial play here. I cannot believe I'm actually seeing this. Sir Louis very, very rarely getting caught out like this. I guess that's because he was doing his own drop down here, which took out a few things, I guess, but didn't really produce a lot of results, not compared to this. But this is extraordinary. I can't really see this paying off in the long run. I mean, this is just danger, Will Robinson. You're under so much pressure, especially Odiso now got an income of 116 compared to everybody else, compared to Dim's 190. Sorry, 90. Slight pause there on the video while it reloads all the things. I should probably refrain from doing that at this stage in the game. A few Janus coming in to help finish off some of these engineers. If you can get the height map sorted out and actually kill the engineers, that would be a real coup for him. But he just demolished Sir Louis' base. I cannot believe it. That's so out of character. I mean, I don't know how you defend against that unless you know it's coming, and to be honest, it's not something you would expect on a Setons. Most people usually sit in their bases, play their hands, try to outplay their opponents, but My goodness, it certainly looks like it's working for the moment. Ravager's gone up, just decimating what's left of this base at long range, and Salui just crippled, absolutely crippled, dropped down the rankings. You can see he's on about 59 mass. I mean, yes, this base is going to be key for him now, but will he be able to hold on to it after that? I'm really, really not sure he'll be able to. Tech 1 subs coming out now, destroying what looked like a landed aircraft in the sea. That was interesting. But yeah, amazingly. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Shimon not doing very much. Michael Jackson would not be proud, I have to say. He's desperately trying to spam up some Cerberuses, but they're just no match for the cruisers, not at that range, especially if you can't get a few finished before they actually get there. Killer finally doing something of use, bringing in some T2 torpedo bombers, but they just won't last very long against that cruiser fire. Cruisers so adept at taking out aircraft. So while it looks this side of the map is really going very badly for Team 1, this side of the map is going very badly for T2, excuse me. But question is, will he be able to deal with the Navy? Because obviously Navy is absolutely crucial on this map. He's got a little T1 subs here, but wanting to come on and deal with this, but I do believe he's going to struggle, being as that these can't be actually attacked, since he has got T1, they're all T1 frigates, pardon me, I thought they were subs, they weren't going to be able to do much to hovering units, but frigates will be able to deal with them quite sufficiently. Meanwhile, I know I keep going on about it, but wow, so impressed with this maneuver. Oh my god, a GC! I apologise for missing that. This is a 4v4 though, there's so much going on. A GC coming out of Odysseau's base, and this is surely going to be the end of Jaguar. I don't know what he's going to do. He's got a few Ravagers in there, but what can you do against this? Taking a lot of fire here, overshotting from the commander. Jaguar needs to get out of there. Shields just protecting him. I don't believe it. How on earth is he still alive? That overshot, or overcharge, excuse me, doing so much damage. And Jaguar survives the GC as well. So really, MVP certainly looking like it's going to be going to Jaguar at the moment. Looks like Team 2 a little bit let down on the west side. Totally, Batman has totally taken control of that side of the map. Definitely not helped by the fact that Batman was allowed to take an island that rightfully shouldn't be his. But wow, what a game so far. Dim not doing a great deal at the moment, but there isn't very much you can do after that start. It's helpfully got rid of that opponent, so Odysseau is now micromanaging effectively 2 sets of forces. But yeah, not doing a great deal. The wall up here would have caused problems for him if he brought down the spam, and he looks like he's out-teched with the front or whatever, but now these cruisers just completely shutting down anything Dim was going to be doing. Obviously Dim looking like he's doing very well, he's very high up the rankings, but that of course is down to the fact that he got the kill on Uberage, which gives you a horrendous amount of points. I don't know exactly how many it does, but it's enough to make you look like you're doing way better than you are. But he's certainly fulfilled his side of what he's supposed to be doing. He's won his battle. But really, you know what? After Dim's work, Jaguar's work, I think it's going to be let down, because Shimon and Killer are short stacking the entire field, and they're just not doing much of any worth at all. Shimon has completely had his mass decimated. He's on next to nothing. There was a pause there from one of the players, don't know what that was about. But meanwhile, Jaguar moving his forces up. I imagine this Navy is probably going to be doing some damage here. He really does need to finish off Sir Louis' forces over here and over here. Sir Louis has evacuated his commander down to this position down here. It's probably the safest place for him at the moment, although if Jaguar gets any significant strap bombers in the air or whatever, once he actually identifies that's the point of where he's gone to, that could be a problem. Monkey Lord on the field now for Batman. Still probably going to think about trying to deal with Jaguar's fortification he's set up over here. It looks like that's where he's heading. But I mean, if a GC can't do it earlier, I'm not sure a Monkey Lord is going to do it, even with the surprise effect that it's probably going to get. I'm not sure if they've got Omni up at this central point. We shall see. I promise not to do this too often, but we shall see. No, so they've got no idea that that's coming up to him, and that's the real main shock and awe of the Monkey Lord attack. Is sometimes you just don't know it's coming. OP Cyber and their Omni bullshit, as it can be said. But so many Ravagers, or at least there were so many Ravagers. There's a few down here and a few down here. Yep. It will be putting some fire on it, but I imagine when he actually gets sight of this... Oh, Jaguar, you need to get your commander out of there. Ravagers need to start doing their job, vaporizing that Monkey Lord, but Jaguar under serious pressure now. Strat Bomb is coming in, down to 1200 hit points. Monkey Lord goes down, but Sir Louis walked some destroyers up over land from his naval base, is now putting fire on Jaguar, taking out those Ravagers. More Strat Bombs coming in, 5000 HP on Jaguar. Samsite's very, very welcome. More Strat Bombers coming in from Batman as well. The question is, he really needs to deal with these two destroyers. Shield's going down, shield coming up at the perfect timing. Desperately trying to get that shield coverage back into play so he's not going to be caught out. The snipe here would be absolutely catastrophic for Team 2 after what Jaguar has done. Meanwhile, in the rest of the field, Navy coming back into play. Air superiority fighters making sure that the skies are clear over Jaguar's base. Finally, they've got some coverage now with these ASFs. They know that these destroyers have got vision on it. Ravagers can actually go to work. If we have a look at what Jaguar's Ravagers can actually do, not enough. So even with vision, the range won't be enough. But looks like this might be the end of any naval aspirations that Sir Louis has. So many units coming out of Jaguar's base, definitely running at MVP for the moment. Serious amounts of units coming in on this side, and Sir Louis giving his units to Batman. I'm not sure what the play was for. I guess he felt that that was over. Maybe he had to go. But yeah, knowing that he was of limited use, allowing what mass he can have to go to his teammates, so hopefully they can make the best use of it. Another Monkey Lord coming in here, but still, I don't know if they're going to be able to deal with this. They need to break this position, because this is such a fortified base, despite the fact that two of their teammates have done very, very little in this game. This fire base down here has just proved absolutely crucial. Wonderful maneuver. I'm not sure this fleet's going to do much of anything. So many shield boats down here, nicely covering a lot of frigates actually, so not that many T2 ships, but he's got enough governors, T2 cruisers in there from the UEF to do the deal, but needs to get rid of this T2 factory. He's got a lot of priorities, trying to keep his fire base alive as well. He'll be aware that this is a Monkey Lord coming in now. But meanwhile, Shimon has been defeated by a Strat Bomber rush from Batman. Once again, I do apologize. It's next to impossible to catch every little piece of action that goes on the Setons map. But I will do my best to focus in on what is most interesting at any one time. Jaguar needs to get some Ravagers up. He's only got 3 now. He had about 7 or 8 last time. He's got a lot of Triads. And that will do for the Monkey Lords. Monkey Lords just not getting the job done. Once again, if a GC can't do a job, why would you think a Monkey Lord? But they're just throwing everything they can at it, because he's been such a nuisance. This fleet looks like it's finally going to finish off what was left of Sir Louis' old navy. More Tech 1 stuff coming in. Need to deal with this fire base down here. It's producing lots and lots of crosshairs, which isn't helping Team 2's plights. Excuse me while I take a drink of water. So much going on, so much to be said. But Dim really just trapped. I'd like to see Dim actually kind of yield this and maybe start building some kind of base up down here. There's no way with this side of the map lost he can really do much of anything. Oh my goodness, massive power outages there for Jaguar. That's not what he needs. Annoying little destroyer still trying to swat that base. But lots of ASFs coming out now from Jaguar. But to be fair, lots coming out here. Let's see what Odu's up from there. He's been had been working on a GC. He's elected to try and snatch back air superiority from Team 2, so he's been pummeling out the ASFs. Especially on a map like this, air superiority is so important. You really don't want to give it up if you don't have to. Crosshair's not doing much of anything against Governors, taking out the occasional ship, but that's the thing, look, he's got destroyers, it's mostly Tech 1, that's not what you need. He needs some more shield boats and he needs some more Governors down there, but he looks like he's got the rest of it up here. All destroyers, in fact. He needs to definitely switch up his production onto some Governors, do as much naval to land base harass as possible. Leapfrogging here from Jaguar with his Ravagers, trying to stop all of this stuff that's been harassing him from this little pond over here. Little Tech 1 radar going up so they actually have coverage. And you've got to wonder how much longer Jaguar can keep this up, or rather how long it's going to take Batman and Odesu to actually deal with this. Serious TAC missile coming in. If nothing else tries, TAC missiles might win the day. What is their target is the question. Going straight for the commander, and one or two getting through, but not enough to finish him off. The question is, will he get enough TAC missile defense up in time to stop that from finishing? He has got a nuke defense. I wonder if this game will come to nukes. I'm not 100% sure it will at the rate it's going. Team 1 having lost 2 of their players already, looking very vulnerable at the moment, especially since they can't deal with this base. Another Monkey Lord coming in now from Batman. But yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. I like the TAC missile strat. So many TAC missiles coming out now. It's just absolutely crazy, and it doesn't look like he's got enough TAC missiles to say, but he's got a lot of shield gens, and just as I say, does anybody have a nuke launcher up? There we go, and I don't think he's had that nuke defense up long enough. He has not. He's got to evacuate his commander. Will he get it out in time? We shall see. I don't think he will. Yes, he does. If he'd have led a little bit more on that, I guess the priority was definitely to take out the base. The commander not so important, especially when you have a Monkey Lord on the way. Jaguar's going to need to think about giving all of his stuff to one of his teammates, because to be honest, I don't think he's going to get out of this one. Monkey Lord now closing in on Jaguar, down to 3,000 HP, 2,000, 1,000. And that's him done. Did he give? Yes, he did. So Dim now has all the stuff. Finally, something of use, I guess, coming out of Killer. We'll see if he does anything with it. And the Seraphim Experimental Bomber. The question is, they can be tricky to operate, and I'm just not convinced he has the micro to make it work. But we shall see. Where is he going to land this? Megabots on the field. We're definitely moving into late game phase. That's a lot of ASFs, and will they be able to take it down in one pass? Yes, they will. And it does get the bomb off and lands for pretty reasonable damage, but that's a big dump of mass you're dropping on Batman's shore right there. And if you can avoid it, you best not lose it unless you absolutely have to. It would have been nice for him to have focused on something other than T1 interceptors. If he'd have had a horde of T3 air superiority fighters, he might have been able to do something there if he'd have led with that, thin out the ASFs first, then bring in the bombers. But at this point, now it's kind of anyone's game. I guess Dim has a really decent amount of stuff. All of the major mass and what have you has been transferred successfully from each player as they have died. Shimon, his old base there, still not able to transfer that when he died because of the presence of cruisers down here. And to Batman's credit, he has done a really great job of shutting down that side of the map. But yeah, I'm still going to have to give MVP to Jaguar. I still can't believe that play. Right, we've got a GC coming up the middle now. But we've got 2 Monkey Lords and a Megalith coming in, and that's going to cause all kinds of trouble. And you know what, I'm kind of thinking Team 1 might have wrestled back the advantage in this game, especially with that nuke launcher going off. I don't know how well these guys have prepared for a nuke fight. I certainly can't see any nuke defense up here, guys. I don't know if you can. It's an artillery installation. So nothing really significant. There we go. So, and it has got one in it. Let's see about the coverage on that. So yeah, that's gonna nicely cover the front of the base. I have no idea. Down here, yeah, we've got a strategic missile defense down there as well with one in it. But any missile would have to come over the front of Dim's base. But this is just going to get shot down again, I imagine. I'm not sure this is what he wants to be doing. Much more significant play would be to focus on getting air superiority back, because this is just going to happen again and again. He's not even going to get a bomb off this time. It's going to fall. Where is it going to fall? It's going to fall onto a T3 power gen for Oduso. That's always annoying. That and Caesar gaying onto your front lines, shall we call it? But very useful for breaking enemy lines. But let's face it, if you want to hold on to that flying experimental and actually do some damage with it, it's a lot more significant. And now we've got nukes coming out from Blackman. We've got experimentals coming out from Batman. I'm not sure he's done a decent scout, because if this looks like it's come out, that's just going to get shot down. Hav's got a GC Dim sitting in the safety of a shield. There goes the nuke. And these experimentals just taking Ravager fire basically at the moment. Megalith sitting at a decent amount of range is going to take out that Ravager, or at least one of the three. Factories going up there on the side. Really significant air wars going on. I'm going to slow this down. Monkey Lord making it into the base, but getting promptly dispatched by that GC. Shields going down. That Megalith going to raid all kinds of hell. But 3 GC coming up to it. Another Monkey Lord down. That Megalith now looking increasingly isolated. So many hit points, but it won't take too long for 3 GCs to get through it. I don't think he's going to be able to do much to this one. Only at 1 kill though, so he's not going to be regenning very fast either. Interestingly, Dim seems to have just set a rally point with his AFFs up here. Oduso bringing a GC out here to try and do some damage to this fleet that's sitting here. Dim managing to wrestle control finally away from Batman. I apologise, I missed that. This fleet needs to be dealt with, but so much mass now sitting on the doorstep of Dim if he decides to make use of it in the form of dead experimentals. But he really needs to be focused, and he needs to stop this rally point. He's just sending, I don't know whether he thought they were spy planes or whatever, but he's just sending them in one at a time to get shot down and leveling up his opponent's ASFs. But he's still producing ships. I'm not sure that's the right call. There's really nothing of any importance in range. I suppose there's a little bit down here, but I think he needs to switch up to serious land, maybe possibly ASFs, maybe look at doing some drops, moving some experimentals up the field, because this is definitely moving into the late game, or has been in the late game for some time now. And with this nuke launcher spamming nukes, it's not going to be long before the next one's done. Question is, does Dim have a second missile? Where was that? There it is. He does not have a missile in that yet, so if he launches another nuke at the front of Dim's base, that's going to be all she wrote, and I think that's also going to be the end of Team 2, which I have to say would be a shame after the valiant effort that Jaguar put in, but it's all about who can get that final snipe. And still, he has now switched up to spy plane, so I think that's maybe what he meant to do originally. It's back out to ASFs again. Take this up to speed 2 again, and really just looking at the end game now. The front of the 2 fields have been kind of thinned out, so it's very much a stretched game at this point, trying to cover as much distance as possible before you actually affect damage on your opponent's base. It's not always that easy, which is why it does often turn into some kind of game ender, nuke spam at the end, and that is, I can see that annoys some people. It's certainly something that some people don't like about this match. Certainly the people that enjoy the closer, smaller knit battles seem to have a problem. But another experimental trying to, or attempting to off-map, it looked like there for a moment.
Strategic launch detected.
And a nuke coming out from Dim. I did not even see that nuke launcher there. That was actually, may well have been built by Jaguar. That's from his old base. He did have one up here at the front. You can see it's wrecked there, and a slightly malfunctioning beam on the Colossus. Let's see where this nuke goes. Question is, do
Strategic
they
launch
have
detected.
nuke defense, sufficient nuke defense? You'd imagine by now they do. Our survey says unbelievable. Unbelievable. And that has taken Odisu out of the game. I think he did manage to give what he had. Again, this bomber doesn't look like he's going to do anything a great deal. And that has switched the emphasis again onto Team 2. Gets the bomb off as it goes down and lands into where it would have landed. So annoying when that happens. It's sometimes even best to not engage straight away. You let it drop its bomb and wait for it to be over your base and then take it out with your swarm of ASFs. But at this point there's so much going down. I do feel very sorry for Batman. He's played a good game, but he's now 2v1 and a lot of ASFs on the field now for both people. Feeling it's leading up to some, both teams, sorry, you get the feel it's leading up to some kind of epic battle to decide who has air superiority, and that could decide the game. GC's in production now for still for Dim. Fat Boy up and running for base defense, but still I don't believe he has. Does he have a missile? He still, because obviously so much mass going in. If we look at Dim, so much mass being involved in this experimental production, he doesn't have enough to consistently produce missiles. And it's a real shame, because I don't know if Batman was aware of it, but he did have one nuke in that silo, and that could have turned the game if he'd have fired it off at the right time. He could have dealt with all of this, and he could have potentially ended the game right there and then, or at least put Dim on the back foot. Yes, he's admittedly got all of this. See where Dim's commander actually is. So no, I mean, it's nice and safe. It's out of the way, so it wouldn't have been a problem. But seriously on the back foot now. Moving out with his ASS.
Strategic launch detected.
Another nuke coming out from Dim, and this looks like it's just going to be. Is he going after the fleet or is he going after the side island? He's going after the side island. So once again, 1, 2, 3, 4 T3 mass. And it's never fun losing those T3 mass. There it goes. And rapidly diminishing is Batman's control over the map. He's just getting kind of picked off in different areas. It's a real shame that, as I say, that was a little bit of a mistake, not firing that nuke or not shooting down that bomber until after it had crossed over his base. But you can't blame him. You want to get those things out of the sky generally as quickly as possible, but Dim now on the move, moving his experimentals up, except for the Fat Boy. It seems like it doesn't want to play. He's gonna go the other way just for fun and deal with these ships, which is nice, because they've been sitting there with complete impunity the entire game, and boy have they caused Dim headaches throughout. Still producing huge torrents of ASFs. Let's see how many these guys have on the field now. We're looking at 137 ASFs for Dim, and for Batman only, is that right? Two. Okay, so he's got two different types, obviously, because he's been given units. So he's got 110 there, and so it's a very even number at the moment in terms of ASFs. But his radar coverage is lousy right now because he's been under relentless attack. He's got no real concept of where the danger is going to be coming from next. I mean, well, actually he did have some Omni up, but look at the power consumption. That's what was causing him problems. Masses of fire coming in now, just sniping, making his day even worse. Sniping little bits of Tech 1 mass, sorry, power. This game goes on for a certain period of time, and my brain cells start to boil and die in my own head. Curiously, Dim not progressing any further. Malfunctioning droid here, still firing his laser. No one told him that the last fight had ended. He's mistaking some very malicious looking stones on the beaches for enemy units. It's still just bit by bit getting whittled down from this navy. I'd like to see some kind of drop here on the low, maybe some kind of He's got the units down here. He could start building some kind of land factories and push up here with some basic units. A limit. I know it's only T1 mass, but every little helps, as the slogan goes. And really, it's very much a standoff at this point. So I'm going to do something very, very out of character, and I'm going to boost this to +3. You just know at some point this is finally off. Very interesting patrol route going around here. I guess Dim concerned about any kind of off-mapping. Any
Strategic launch detected.
Another nuke going off there.
Strategic launch detected.
Another nuke going off there. It's just their plan seems to be at this point nuke Batman to death. Sounds very, very Harvey Two-Face to me. But looks like this is just a mass sniping mission. Not sure. He hasn't done a lot of scouting. He hasn't been able to do a lot of scouting with the amount of ASFs that Batman has on the field. So he's not going to avoid the main build-ups of base-looking units. He's just going to go after the mass. Why not? Otherwise they're just sitting there useless in their silos, those nukes. Finally making use of some of Chimon's stuff. Only subs left from that fleet. That fat boy has completely dispatched it. One counterintelligence boat and one submarine killer left from the Navy. And you're just waiting for this final ASF battle to kick off, as you're sure it's going to at some point. Finally, Dim moving his experimentals up to the field. There are still one or two though for Batman. He's got his Colossus, he's got his Spider-Bot, got his Monkey Lord. Very, very interesting coming down here. Will he elect to engage with his own ASFs? He won't. Strat bombers on the field now, desperately trying to deal with this. And here we go. This could be Lag City. You imagine he's going to be auto-targeting those bombers. It's just a question. Here they are. He's just going to cover his own units for now. It's just a question of whether Batman wants to engage this, whether he thinks he's got enough to make a difference, but he certainly doesn't want his strat bombers to get taken down. And here we go. That's a lot of crap right there. Massive slowdown on the client. And to be honest, I think Dim has more ASFs. Just don't think Batman has enough to come out of this on top. And with Dim losing air superiority, looks like he landed, somehow managed to land his a proportion of his fighters on the ground there. No, they're just holding position. They're doing the same over here. Dim needs to rectify that immediately. It's probably, yeah, it's the two different, the Wasps, the UEF fighters sitting on the ground because he'd only selected one proportion of them to engage. But with the limited help from Killer, they have managed to do it. And Killer now coming in. That's going to be the end of that nuke defense and all of those engineers. And I think it's just a formality now, question of time, until we have a winner. Trying to see his commanders sitting there in the water. Bombers finally coming in, trying to take out this tower. More nukes coming out of Dim. But to his credit, he managed to get up a rapid-fire artillery, but it's just too little too late. There's too much sprawling base. He's not got a lot of stuff left. Even taking out the entire base of these two players wouldn't be enough because there's just too many units on the field from Team 2. Not sure where his commander is. They're just indiscriminately bombing the ocean. Taking out a whole proportion of his own fighters, I think, there. Not sure that was the smartest move, but who cares? I've got so many, he says. It doesn't matter. And this just looks like a formality now. And the GG goes out, or doesn't go out, I should say, but Batman capitulates and Control K's is calm. And there we have it. Wow. So 57 in-game minutes. I'm not quite sure how long the videos run for, but I hope you enjoyed it, guys. I will be doing some more Setons at some point in the future, but it will be a little while because my God, that takes it out of you. You can probably hear my voice is going, and I was planning to do another cast today, but I think I'm going to leave it a little while before I attempt to do that. I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. I've got so many good replays now. It's just a question of fitting them in and in what order I do them. So if you're interested, you like it, and you want to see more, come back next time. Cheers, guys.